Hello, welcome. I'm your host, Sammy, aka at Sammy on X, and welcome to the final episode, the final season finale of TV Plus on FTSN. As always, my co-host Eddie Chapo. Eddie,
How you doing,
can you hear
man?
me? Doing good. What's your background? What are you having there, Eddie? Is that Mr. Ross with you? He hanging with you? You have
Yeah,
your
he's hanging. He's asking my advice on a couple things.
so that means we can blame you if this all goes to hell. That's interesting to know, Eddie. Eddie, a very interesting day of news. That's what's not expected. We're going to be joined a little in a couple of minutes by Frankie Frezko of Square Circle Digest and everywhere else. He's a friend of the show, friend of Fins TV. He's part of the Fins TV Awards. He's been with us for a long, long time. I want to know his thoughts about the news of the day with Mike McDaniel finally out as coach. The first question I want to ask you: when you saw that Mike McDaniel was out, what was your first thought, Eddie?
Um, Surprised. Didn't believe it at first. Thought I was getting some like fake Adam Schefter news, like that old account that they used to. I think I used to follow it way back, but surprised. Hoping they get a coach that or get the GM in place so they can start the head coach search fast enough because there's a lot of teams looking at coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many openings that's kind of a problem with so many openings. Mike McDaniel might even get a head coaching job prematurely because rumors that Cleveland Brown might be interested. I tell you what, we talked so many conversations about Mike McDaniel being out, and I was the one who said that he will not be fired in season, but I'd be frustrated. Is he out? Is he not? Everybody got fired but him the other day, but. When they added Alexander at the last minute, then that makes many people say, that's kind of weird because he was not in the first round of names that came out, and he has a long relationship with John Harbaugh with the Ravens, and now with Jim Harbaugh of the Chargers, and the Harbaughs with so many times with Ross in Michigan, and now he basically cuts the line, gets to the second round of interviews with even I don't think it was a Zoom interview. When you saw that Mike McDaniel was fired, and after Alexander was named in the list, did you get the conspiracy theories are running through your head? What do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
It's I don't know if I believe in coincidences that much. It's kind of odd they added them last minute as soon as that they caught wind of what was happening. That's kind of like when they added him to the list. I mean, he's a qualified candidate. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely a little coincidental there on that.
Absolutely, it's kind of weird because that was so many last minute. I know a lot of people wanted Mike McDaniel out. I was one of them, as you know. I think you kind of have your reservations. You do you feel the Dolphins did the right thing? That's my question to you. You think the Dolphins actually did the right thing, or they should give Mike McDaniel one more year? What are your thoughts?
It's a tough question because
Yes, it's very tough. I get that. I don't want to
um,
lose the spot, but
I don't like how, because no matter what, if you like McDaniel, didn't like McDaniel, I'll say this: I don't like the way they handled it, making him do the press conference on Monday like everything was all right. Let him do the player interviews, exit interviews on the way out. I don't like how they treated him on the way out. If you like him as a coach or not, he was still a good person, and you can tell that just by the reporters, the way they said that he was a good man, and everybody in the building did. But I am for a full reset. You know that, from top of the organization to the quarterback, and we're going to see if we got what we wanted. To tell you the truth, I'm not impressed with the coaching candidates out there, other than maybe two. So, you can say McDaniel's a bum, but I guess we're going to see.
absolutely. Who do you like? That's it's not a long list of candidates, at least not proven candidates. But that's for sure. Who do you like? Who comes up when you think about it? You see the list. Who tops your mind? Who tops your list?
It's tough. I don't know. Even though it could work. I mean, it worked in Seattle with McDonald, as a first-time coach. But
Yes.
I'm scared if they go down that route again, it's going to be Philbin, Gase, McDaniel, Flores, all over again. Yeah.
Cam Cameron,
Oh,
Sparano.
that's just a
That, yeah,
but
that's the reason why I don't want a first time head coach.
I'm
Because that
scared to
list,
death of that. I mean, I don't care how talented somebody is. There can't be anybody smarter at calling an offensive play than McDaniel, but he's not cut out to be a head coach, I don't think. Who's my list? Well, of course, Harbaugh is on my list. Going to be a tough get, I think. But other than that, I guess Stefanski would be up there with the Browns because he's I think he won Coach of the Year twice, didn't he?
twice.
Yeah. That's just a terrible organization, no matter what anybody wants to say. I saw some reports people like McCarthy. No, thank you. I do not like Mike McCarthy. So that's probably who they'll end up getting. But in no particular order, maybe Saleh deserves a second chance because he was with the Jets. He's definitely a leader. Robert Saleh. I wish the Packers would get rid of LaFleur, even though I've heard they're not gonna. That's really. I think I would take LaFleur over Harbaugh, but that's me.
He will go to the top of the list for sure.
I think so. So, but everybody else, I mean, you got Vance Joseph, you got Stefanski, you got a couple other guys making the rounds right now. Nobody's really that impressive. It's tough. I mean, they could be a home run out there, but what Miami has to do is get the right GM in place first, because he's got to make the decision, or at least advise, say, this is the guy we need.
Yeah, there's been a lot of controversy. I don't want to hold our special guest Frankie Frezko a little bit longer, but there's been a lot of controversy between. But Barry Jackson said that the Dolphins had not reached out to Harbaugh, and when Josina said that you basically had an infatuation for the Harbaughs, and there are channels for them to do that. I said it this morning.
Yes.
I'm conducting the search, and I have Alexander as a candidate. One of the things I'm gonna do for sure is gonna ask him, okay, who is your list? If you get the chance to name your head coach, who on your list? Who are you speaking with? Who will be the coordinators? What type of game? Of course, Alexander said, yes, I talked to Harbaugh already, and he's really, if you name me the general manager, I already had conversations, he's going to be here. And the Dolphins wouldn't know. And again, Stephen Ross liked Mike McDaniel, and pretty much learned what happened the last time with Adrian Sperano. I don't think he's gonna do that kind of blunder. But the fact that they moved so quickly to add Alexander to the list and fire McDaniel today, when the river sounds, you know the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Let's welcome our special guest, Frankie Frezko of Square Circle. Everybody, Frankie, long time no see. Welcome back to Fizz TV Plus. This time to Fizz TV Plus on FTSN.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to talk some Dolphins. I picked the right day to come, right?
Absolutely. We tried to do it a couple of weeks ago, but I was traveling. Miss you this time that we went to the game in Miami. Last time that when we meet for Fan Weekend, we had such a great time. Hopefully, clear your calendar for the next year's Fan Game weekend, so we can hang together again. It was a great experience to hang with you. So you know how much I appreciate you and your brother, Frankie. An interesting day today because. There was supposed to be a meeting with Mike McDaniel on Friday. That meeting was moved to yesterday. That's never good when the boss says he wants to see you Friday. And they said, show the office on Wednesday. Oh crap. What?
Yeah, not good.
I don't think there's a race coming. I think there's something up. That scene from The Sopranos. This is The Sopranos Goodfellas that they're walking with that. I think it's the Godfather probably. They're walking at the basement. So they invite Mike McDaniel basically to the offices yesterday, and he has that meeting with Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins. Of course, by then, I said it this morning as soon as the news broke, Stephen Ross and the whole group of Garfunkel, Aikman, Marino, Brandon Shore had already had the first round of interviews with the GMs. My belief, and I said it before, I've seen it, a lot of people say it afterwards, but I was the first to say it. My belief that they went by one to the GMs and said, candidates to say, why you're feeling so Mike McDaniel? And the results probably were not good. Will you keep him? Will you give him an opportunity to stay? Three of the candidates were 49ers guys. Two of those are not logged in the short list. But, for that to happen and then but then getting whacked. I think Stephen Ross went to that meeting with Mike Daniel, basically thinking, I don't know, I need this and this and this for him. I love the guy, but I need this and this and this for him to stay. And that was not the result of the meeting. What are your thoughts? Where were you? What were your thoughts when you received the news that Mike Daniel was fired?
Well, I was home, obviously working. I work from home, so when I heard the news,
That's awesome.
the first person I text message was my brother, and I told him, I was like, "Look," and I said to him, "Bye, bye, Mike," and he just responded to me, "Wow," because me and my brother, you guys know, we're season ticket holders, so we go to all the games whenever we
Yes.
can, right? But the crazy thing about it was, I wasn't expecting them to fire Mike McDaniel. I really didn't think they were going to fire him. I really thought they were going to go ahead and give him one more chance. Just because I don't think it would look good for the Dolphins after they extended him. I know they gave him this season, but I felt like they could have easily gone ahead and say, hey, let's give him a second season and see if anything else happens. Even though we all kind of knew he wasn't going to change, we all knew he was still going to make the same blunders that he usually does. But I felt like they, with a new GM, Quentin Ewers, maybe the team never quit on him this past season, all that stuff. And yes, they did play kind of like crappy teams except for Buffalo, but they didn't quit on him. So in a way, I kind of felt like maybe this guy still got another chance. And I feel, and this is just me, I was very certain that we were gonna go ahead and lose Tua Tagovailoa, but not this season. I felt like we were gonna let him go next season because of the cap hit. So I really honestly thought that they were going to go ahead and stick with those two guys, at least for one more season. I felt like 2026 was going to be a down season for us, and then 2027 was going to be our rebuild year. But, hey, man, once you bring the name John Harbaugh, and I know you guys on the chat board are saying not Harbaugh, but once you bring that name up, bro, like, dude, like, how can you not put all your eggs in one basket for that guy? That's the guy we want to get. That's the guy everybody wants, apparently.
Yeah, there been reported that teams with a head coach consider if they will go to them, they don't consider fire their head coach. I think that's kind of a little bit of exaggeration, but the NFL is crazy sometimes. I will not be shocked because he's a winner. He has a great winning percentage. He won a Super Bowl before Lamar got there. Lamar has been a different story, but he won a Super Bowl before Lamar. He has a great winning percentage. When he's a winner. The guy is a winner. He's proven that he knows how to win the game.
I looked at his stats, right? And I have him on my phone here. He had 18 seasons. He was with obviously Baltimore from 2008 to 2025. His regular season record was 180 wins, 113 losses. So he had a .614 percentage winning rate. His postseason record was 13-11. So he had also above average winning. Obviously, he won the Super Bowl. He had 12 playoff appearances. So if you look at it, he only missed the playoffs 6 times throughout the 18 years that he was there. And he was also awarded the 2019 NFL Coach of the Year, and he was the AFC Championship. He went to the AFC Championship appearances 4 times. I don't know when the last time the Dolphins were in AFC Championship. That's just
probably 1984, 5, if I'm mistaken. Yes, I think so. When they lost to the 1983, 1984, probably 1985. I don't know. Pretty sure it's close to that. But it's been a long while. Nonetheless, the playoffs, it's been 25 years since the Dolphins won a playoff game, Eddie, it's like Frankie said, the guys basically he's a winner. But a lot of people are not going to want him because they're going to probably want someone young. I, for one, like I'm speaking to Frankie, the list of one-time first head coaches, rookie head coaches with the Dolphins is love from Philbin, Cameron, Sperano, Adam Gase, Brian Flores. Philbin, it's hard. I understand why people might say, no, Harbaugh, he's not won the big one, but he won playoff games. He comes from a franchise that basically has a structure running that knows how to do those things. And the Dolphins had not had in the building since Jimmy Johnson left. Because they once all he did was inherited the structure of Jimmy. So that, and Bill Parcells, he did some good things, but he fell very, very short of expectations. So uh, people, Eddie, don't maybe don't like the fact that Harbaugh, what has he done for me lately? I kind of get that. But do you agree with me that the man knows what a winning culture, a winning franchise does, and that's the kind of thing that Miami is right now, Eddie?
Yeah. He's first of all, he's only 63 years old. It's not.
Mhm.
He said he least, I believe they put out his agent said he wants to coach at least 10 more years. I mean, I'd take him for 5, 6, 7 years because he's going to bring something that none of the past coaches have brought. Since I was at that playoff game that they won, that's how old I am. I was actually at that game when Lamar Smith ran it in against Indianapolis. That was the last game they won in the playoffs.
I was there too.
Okay.
Oh wow!
And they've shown all these highlights when they beat the Chiefs. I was at that one. They beat Joe Montana and the Chiefs. I don't understand the hate for Harbaugh. I mean, I guess some people just don't like to win. Oh, he's only won 4 playoff games in the last whatever. Yeah, that's 4 more than we've won since 2001. It's only because of Lamar. No, maybe it's because despite Lamar. Who knows? I don't know. Lamar's had problems with his last couple seasons. He had an MVP season last year, but he seems to fall apart in the playoffs. I don't know why you would not want him. I would throw full court press him because of the type of coach he is. Everybody's been on McDaniel because he's not a leader of men. John Harbaugh is a leader of men. There's not many coaches like him. He's well respected by his peers. Just look at the interview Mike Tomlin gave about him. And right there is all you need to see. It's good enough for me.
Absolutely. I see the SG in the chat. He basically, Frankie, want to ask you. He says, "Give me someone young and hungry." But my point is, I get that. My McDaniel was young and hungry. The one with the Cardinals was young and hungry. Basically, all the ones who got fired the last couple of days were young and hungry. Just because you're young and hungry doesn't mean you know what the hell you're doing. And this franchise cannot take another chance. And if you're doing a clean sweep, someone like Harbaugh for me, is someone like, again, knows how a winning organization works. I would love for him to have someone like that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree, man. I think when you say young and hungry, I mean, dude, we gave Mike McDaniel the chance to be the head coach. We gave Brian Flores. He wasn't an old
Yes.
guy either, and he was a first-time coach as well. We gave Adam Gase at one point in time the opportunity to be the head coach as well. And all of those guys sucked. None of them succeeded. So we've already tried that. And not to mention the times when we brought Nick Saban out of college and everything, and that didn't work out either. So
I forgot all about him.
I want to forget.
I know.
So we haven't hit on a really good coach since the days of Don Shula. I mean, Dave Wanstead was okay. Tony Sperano had a couple of good seasons here and there. But at the end of the day, I'm tired of it. I don't want a first-time head coach. I don't want that. I want somebody who has some experience. I need somebody who has experience. I think John Harbaugh is a good candidate for that. I also there is one guy that I am willing to give a shot. And I don't know. I think he kind of got a bad end of the stick. I really want an offensive guy as well. I don't want a defensive mind coach because I think the process to have a good defense is just get a really solid defensive coordinator. We saw what happened with Anthony Weaver. He's a good defensive coordinator, so he handles that part of the team. We don't need Mike McDaniel to handle that part of the team. But at the end of the day, we needed somebody like our Achilles heel all the time is offense. Even though we have all these stacked people, it tends to be the offense being the issue. So I want somebody with offensive experience. I know John Harbaugh overall, he's very good. The only guy I would make an exception, and he's still young, but it isn't a first time. He didn't have a great run. And a lot of you guys might criticize me, a lot of you guys and girls out there watching the show, is Brian Dable. And for some strange reason, only him, he's the only one that I would reconsider in giving him a second shot because I do feel he had such a crappy quarterback over there with the Giants. kind of like Mike McDaniel, but I feel like, remember, the Dolphins were trying to go after him before we got Mike McDaniel. That was our guy.
Finalist. He was a finalist. Yes,
Like,
he was a
he was our
finalist.
guy. So I know that Ross must have liked him. Chris Greer must have liked him. Something about that guy must have made them see something in him and say, hey, this guy's capable of doing it. So he's the only one that I would honestly go out on a limb and probably try to bring him back as a head coach. And I know, again, I know his Giants experience was bad, and maybe he does need a little bit more. Maybe you could bring him as an offensive coordinator if you decide to bring John Harbaugh, but I do like that guy a lot. And then obviously you guys mentioned a couple of people, like Kevin Stefanski and Vance Joseph. Named Jason Garrett is out there as well. I don't know if you guys really like Jason Garrett, but he is a candidate as well out there. Joe Brady is another guy out there.
I like Cliff Kingsbury.
Greensbury, yes.
He's been really good with quarterbacks.
Like I said, I like somebody who's offense, like the Clint Kubiak. I think he's from the Seahawks. He's the one who's been an offensive guy. So I like him a lot. But yes, my priority would be John Harbaugh. If we can't get John Harbaugh, I would still like somebody offensively. So Clint Kubiak would be an option for me, and Brian Dable would be an option for me as well.
What's interesting, I've seen so many people saying, basically, we're going to talk about the battle was today with the Giants media, with the Giants fans, but I've seen so many people say, why will Harbaugh go to the Dolphins? Blah 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 blah. That's like Sean Payton. Sean Payton went to the Broncos. He basically took the biggest cap hit of the Tua, the biggest cap hit in the history of the NFL, in the division with Patrick Mahomes, in the division with Justin Herbert, with Andy Reid, with and on the real, I'm missing someone. Now with Harbaugh, and he basically has the number one seed right now, and that team was a mess. You can turn it around. If you that franchise was a mess for a bit of a while. Fangio did a horrible job as a coach. I think who was the coach? Vance Joseph was the coach over there for a couple of seasons.
Yep.
I think he was horrible, and he basically turned around that franchise. He found a quarterback. After that 70 burger, the Dolphins after that season, went and the Broncos kept going up. So it can be done. If you find the quarterback and you basically install the way you're committed to, and you get a great coaching staff. That's what basically, besides what Fitzpatrick said the other day, which I would love to have some chance to talk with you guys about that, but we're not going to be today. Brian Flores, was fighting with everybody, was fighting with the coaching staff, but Brian Flores could not build a coaching staff to save his life. You need to be someone who can be able to build a coaching staff. I want a head coach this time, not calling the plays. I want the head coach that's involved in every facet of the game, and the coordinators run the show. They call the defense, they call the offense. So, I'm very confident that, maybe Anthony Weaver is not a head coach. Maybe he can come back to the office as defensive coordinator again. Who knows? He coached under Harbaugh before. Strange things have happened. He might come back. So Harbaugh as a head coach, I'm more confident in him building the coaching staff this franchise needs compared to a rookie head coach that we don't know who the hell is going to bring as a offensive coordinator, what kind of offense or anything like that. What are your thoughts before Frankie and then Eddie?
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And I went on social media and I looked, somebody posted this on Mike McDaniel going for a minute there back on the, like, going with a young guy. His record, he was 2-7 versus Buffalo. He was 0-5 in Buffalo. He was 4-24 when trailing at halftime. He was 4-11 with QBs other than Tua. He was 4-21 with replay challenges, and he was 3-16 against teams above 500. So again, when you talk to me and you tell me, hey, I want a young guy, there's no certainty. And keep in mind, Mike McDaniel had, really good coach. He knew the coaches. He brought some good defensive coordinators. I think the problem too was that he never wanted to let go of the offensive play calls. I think that hurt him a lot. And obviously, you guys, if you guys know me, if you follow me, you guys know I'm not the biggest Tua fan. So you know that I don't believe in Tua. I wanted to believe in Tua, but I'm not a big fan on him. So all I say is, whoever you bring in here, just start fresh, man. Whatever coach you bring in here, man, you gotta let go of Tua. If you're gonna keep him and you don't want to take the cap hit, then sit him down, put him on the bench, give viewers opportunity, and then see what Ewers got. And then if you feel like that's not going to happen with Ewers, then draft a QB in 2027 and then go from there. And I will say this, us Dolphin fans, we need to be patient there, because I really feel that whoever takes over the team, I don't think it's going to be a quick turnaround. I don't think this team is going to go all of a sudden and be a playoff. Look at what you just mentioned with Sean Payton. When he went to the Broncos, he got his booty spanked by the Dolphins by 70s. So it took him a year or two in order for him to get the team to his liking. And we got to be patient. Whoever we bring here, just be patient that first season, because that's kind of gonna be like the burner season, the season that season we're just gonna try to see what we could work with to make the team better, and then the next season is when you kind of have to start judging them, both the GM and the coach, and say, okay, let's see what you guys have brought to the table to make the team better.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons. Also, we're gonna be so over the cap. So it's such a young team. So against the odds of basically developing a team to competitive next year with everything against us, that a young coach is going to be much tougher to recover after that. You get a horrible season after first. It's going to be for any look at the Raiders. Raiders is firing everybody after 1 year because they cannot establish anything. So Eddie, that's my point. I want to go to you. Yeah, if a younger coach, which I get young and hungry, of course, have not worked for the Dolphins before, but against the odds of the Dolphins having the structure right now with the cap and everything, and who's going to be the quarterback next year, a young coach might not be the right decision. What are your thoughts?
Well, it could end up being just like what happened to the Patriots. They got rid of they had a young and hungry coach. He went 4-something. The team that was with Drake May, who looked horrible under him. I know he was a rookie, but they got rid of him after a year. I have a feeling if they bring in a young guy that doesn't have connections to good coaches, and everybody's going to turn on him right away. Like Frankie said, you have to be patient no matter who they bring in. You can't expect to turn around that quick. But I'm done with young and hungry. I am. I want somebody with connections. I don't care if it's Harbaugh or one of these other guys that had a job before, as long as they can put a staff together. It's, a cohesive staff. Guys that know what they're doing. Somebody that's a leader of men. Somebody that has connections in the NFL all around that's going to bring people in. Somebody knows not to sign injury-prone players, or doesn't go to the GM and say, I want this guy because he played for me before, even if that guy's not worth it. I need somebody with some conviction, Sam. That's what I need. And I don't know if a young guy coming in here with all the problems they're going to have next year, and they're going to have problems because I think they're going to get rid of a lot of problems, but you still have to rebuild. That's why I want Weaver to take a job somewhere so we get 2 picks. Somebody hire him as a head coach, please. I think we get 2 third-rounders if they do.
Oh, yes.
That's all I got on that. I mean, I want somebody, like Frank said, if it's Daboll, I wouldn't. If that's who they think is right, that's right. At least he knows people in the NFL. He's had a coaching staff. He was pretty successful his first year, and then it just fell apart on him. But that organization's not run too well from their GM. So just go ahead.
One thing you pointed out, Eddie, that was really, really interesting was Drake May and the Patriots, right? So Drake May had that first year coach, and they went 4-13. And now look at them, right? You bring in Mike Vrabel, who is a very good coach, who knows how to put a system around him, and got the best out of that particular quarterback. And now look, John Harbaugh, or Jim Harbaugh, is doing the same thing with this guy over there and with the Chargers. So it's like, you're right. If we go with somebody young, who's to say that they're going to be able to do this, what these experienced and veteran coaches are able to do? I know Mike McDaniel did what he had to do for Tua, but then look, Tua fell off, right? So whatever the reason might be, it could have been his injuries, it could have been his confidence. I don't know what is wrong with that guy, but at the end of the day, I think what you just finished saying, the fact of the matter is that that they got another coach who knows how to put a team together, and has that experience, knows how to deal with adversity, will make a young quarterback, whether we go with Quentin Ewers or we draft a quarterback in the future, make them hopefully a franchise QB for us.
Absolutely. And it's not hard. It probably is not going to be hard. But if you ask me, I don't think it's going to be hard though. But Stefanski's there. I think Stefanski will. If Lafleur somehow gets fired, and I'm not betting on that, but the Packers have done stranger things. Mike Hunger got run out of there. So and others have not been out of there. So I wouldn't. It would be crazy for them to move on. But someone with experience. I see it. I see DSG saying, to a degree next year we got a tank. What, Frankie, in your opinion, do you think that Tua come back next year? For the latest comments and the way the team is operating, I think they're gonna rip it off and try to wait to see if they can eat some type of the money, kind of the money, and send it back elsewhere. Do you think Tua is back as a third QB or take a backup QB next season for the Dolphins?
Before they fired Mike McDaniel, I thought he was gonna come back. I honestly, I feel like now that they did this, they're pretty much giving us, the writing on the wall, letting us know, hey, look, we're not going to bring anybody back. We're just going to go ahead and run with a new staff, new group, and we'll just take the hit and call it a day. So I really feel that Tua was not going to come back. Now, I do want to answer to DS this question because he's like, Patriots had the easiest schedule since 1999. Relax. Look, man, if you look at the Miami Dolphins schedule wasn't that hard this season either. And what was our record? Our record sucked. So I understand that, yes, the New England Patriots didn't have the toughest schedule out there, but that doesn't mean that they didn't improve. They still had to win those games. And on any given Sunday, anybody could win. So that's why I'm not going to go ahead and just say, hey, just because they went ahead and they struggled against harder teams and they beat the easy teams, that the Patriots are not legit. I mean, look, you got to win no matter what at the end of the day. And Mike McDaniel did it. So when it comes to Tua, I don't think he's going to stick around. I think they're going to let him go. I think they're going to take the hit and just move on from the guy.
Absolutely. I want to wrap it up. There's another program going on Finstock Sport Network, and I don't want to hold it too much. But, I want your prediction, boy. You guys, your predictions. The final show of the season for Fins TV Plus. It was kind of an interesting season, right? Up and down, and who would have thought at the end of the year this will be the end of this regime with Chris Greer getting fired mid-season, Mike McDaniel getting fired today after so many people saying he was safe, Tua being benched with 2 games to go, so many things that I wouldn't. To be honest, I personally didn't think it would happen. So. Going forward, Frankie, what do you think? Bring out the crystal ball. You next, Eddie. What do you think is going to happen next? What do you see this franchise going in the next 2 weeks? In the next 2 weeks, this franchise is going to do what? What do you think? Go to your crystal ball and you give us your weirdest, craziest predictions for the next couple of weeks for the Dolphins going forward with the GM search and the coach search.
Me or Eddie?
I'll go with you first, Frankie.
Okay. So my crystal ball, or what Frankie would want to happen, is
even better.
I would want that Chad Alexander be the head coach. I'm sorry, the GM for the Miami Dolphins. I know you guys that are tuning in also like the University of Miami a lot. So if you guys didn't know, his father used to be a coach for the University of Miami back in the 70s and 80s, and he was part of the Dallas Cowboys staff when they won the championship as well. So he has good experience from his own father, and then he has all that experience with his days in Wake Forest with Jim Caldwell and all that stuff. So that's why I want Chad Alexander. My hope is they hire him as the GM. I hope they get John Harbaugh. Personally, keep Tua for one more season, bench his ass until the following season. That way we don't take that cap hit, and have a competition between him and Ewers. Let Ewers run the whole season, and then from there, see if the kid has any potential. If the kid doesn't have any potential, then draft a quarterback the very next season, and then start building it all over. I would also trade Achane. I'm sorry. If we don't see any success with Quentin Ewers, then I would find a way to trade Achane sometime in the middle of the season to try to get more picks for him, because I really feel like we're just going to lose him eventually. So I'd rather trade him and get some draft picks for him and get some value for him before we lose him for nothing.
An Achane trade is history, but that's the kind of trade that it looks more appealing where you make him part of a trade instead of a pick. We got a probably lower pick, but if you're trying to move up to get a quarterback in the draft, or trade for an established quarterback, throwing H in there makes it look like a better trade. So it will be interesting. That's something that might happen. Eddie, I want your prediction. It's been a weird season of Fins TV. It's been a weird season for the Dolphins. Going forward the next 2 weeks, what do you think is going to happen, Eddie?
Just the next couple weeks? Well, I'll tell you this on the future. I think they ripped the Band-Aid off with Tua. I think he's gone. I think he'll be a June 1st cut or a trade where they throw in a pick and eat some money. They just need to get him off the team. That's what I think. Or I'd be happy with any other GM candidates. Most I like Alexander. I like Sullivan, I think his name is, from Green Bay. Them are my top 2 guys that are left on the list. I got nothing against Champ Kelly, but I want fresh eyes in there. He's been there, even though it's only been a year. Just get me somebody that's from outside and looking in. And if they do land Harbaugh, my prediction is they will trade for a quarterback.
Yeah, that's kind of my sense too. I don't think they're gonna go the rookie route there because it's gonna have to wait too long. Frankie, appreciate it. Hopefully next season we'll try to make it work. I know you had your show, you guys. You had the same show, the same Fins TV, so it might be a little hard for you to join the Fins TV Awards. But I'm gonna talk to you guys and see if we can make it work. Eddie, I want to thank you for an awesome season of Fins TV Plus. We're gonna come back next, for September, including preseason. Maybe a couple of specials for Fins TV Plus. So we'll see what happens. But Frankie, I appreciate you, Eddie.
Special.
I'm sorry.
So we might have to do a special if something breaks.
Yourself is and of course during draft season you're gonna be joining Fins TV regular season. Guys, thank you very much, Frankie. While you have working with our friend Sean Stanley on Square Circle Digest and everybody else.
Yeah, we have Square Circle Digest. So all you wrestling fans out there, if you want to tune in, we do have a show every Tuesday night. It's either at 7 or 8 o'clock. But if you follow me at my social media platforms, I always post it up. So you can follow me at Frezko, Frezko, Frankie Frezko. I'm all social media platforms, on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, on all those platforms. And then usually I have, you'll catch me DJing out there. If you guys didn't know, I'm a DJ as well. So I'm DJing everywhere, usually over the weekends. Definitely for like if you're in the South Florida area, you want to catch me. Like I said, just follow me. I usually post where I'm at during the weekends. I usually DJ a lot at Tap 42, which is well known here in South Florida. So I'm usually at different locations since they have multiple locations. And I usually do the brunch on the nighttime shift. Banging some jams out there for all you guys. So and then if you guys are Dolphin fans, Dolphin fanatics, like I said, man, I'm a season ticket holder. I'm always usually going to all the games. The only time I don't go to a game is if, for example, I have to work. So at that point I either sell the ticket or give it to somebody. So but you could catch me and my brother if you guys ever want to link up at the Dolphins game or anything like that. And just Sammy, like I said, just let me know when it's that game, what week it is. That way I can make sure I'm not DJing that weekend, and then we could all catch up.
This year, as soon as we were saying for Eddie, as soon as we see where the date is, usually October for the fan weekend, there's a list. I gotta check it once or twice and say everybody when it's gonna be to see if we can all meet. I don't know if it's gonna be about campus or whatever, but it's so much fun to meet at the fan weekend. It's so much fun to meet at the game. So we had to find a way to get Sean Stanley there. So you had to see that happen.
Yeah, shout out to my partner in crime.
Eddie, thank you. So we'll meet again soon for the Fins TV Awards. Frankie, thank you for being a guest, and we'll have to see you again next season on Fins TV. To DSG Label, thank you very much for every single show you've been here. We might not agree, but I respect you a lot. You made me think every single day, so I appreciate you. And so many people in the chat. We have over almost 300 watching tonight but even with another show on Finstock Sport Network, and we're not running tonight on the Fins TV account. That's actually pretty good. So I feel happy about that. So thank you guys for watching. Until next season, as always say, Fins up.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe.
Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number one.
See you next week. Fins up.